Hello everyone, and welcome to Sleepy Moon's Storytime. Today's story is called The Emperor's New Clothes. So cozy up and enjoy the story. Once upon a time, in an empire far away, there lived an emperor who was vain and difficult to please. He wanted to have the best things he could find, the shiniest dinnerware, the biggest horses, and the most modern castle. He also didn't want anyone in the empire to have the same things he did, including clothing. The emperor searched for tailors from faraway lands who could create clothing from the rarest fabrics, just to ensure that no one else had clothes like his. He had so many clothes that he wore a different coat for each hour of the day, and each one was more lavish than the last. Because he spent so much money on his clothing, the emperor was very stingy with his people. The castle staff didn't receive enough food or pay, and the empire's citizens weren't well cared for either. One day, two clever tailors decided to teach the emperor a lesson. They dressed up in fine clothes and went to see him. "Your Majesty," they said, bowing, "we are two tailors visiting from a very distant kingdom. We heard that you were looking for the most unique clothing in the world, and we think we have just the thing for you. We make clothing from an invisible cloth, which only the smartest people in the world can see." The emperor was immediately intrigued. "I demand to see the cloth you will use to make my clothes," he said. The tailors presented the crate they had brought with them. They opened the lid, and to everyone's surprise, it was empty. "Come closer, Your Majesty," one of the tailors said. "Surely you can see the cloth," he asked. The emperor could not see anything, but he did not want his castle staff or the tailors to think he wasn't smart. So he quickly answered, "Of course I can see the cloth. I am the smartest man in the whole empire." The emperor then ordered the tailors to start working on his clothes right away, right there in the castle. The tailors pretended to take cloth out of the crate, pretended to cut it with scissors, and pretended to sew it with invisible thread. They took measurements of the emperor's waist and shoulders, pretending all the while to adjust their work. A few weeks later, the tailors told the emperor that their work was done. The emperor was ready to try on his new clothes. But apart from his underwear and crown, which everyone could see, none of the castle staff saw any clothing on the emperor. "Absolutely perfect, Your Majesty. Do you love your new clothes?" asked the tailors. The emperor still could not see or feel anything, but his pride made him lie. "They're the best clothes I've ever seen," he said. He then asked his staff if they liked the outfit, and out of fear, they all agreed that it fit him perfectly. The emperor paid the tailors a large amount of gold, certain that no one else in the world had clothes like these. The tailors thanked him and quickly left, never to return. As usual, the emperor wanted to show off his lavish new outfit by parading through the streets of the empire. Crowds gathered to see his new clothes, but as he passed by, no one said a word. Instead, people stood in silence, looking at him in disbelief. Then, from the quiet crowd, a child shouted, "Look, the emperor is only wearing his underwear." At that moment, the crowd erupted into laughter. Everyone knew that the child was right. The emperor was only wearing underwear and no clothes. Though the emperor hated to admit it, he had been fooled. He continued his parade through the city, pretending nothing was wrong. When he returned to the castle, he finally acknowledged how humbling the experience had been. He promised never to be so vain again and shared a good laugh with his staff about his unexpected walk through the empire in nothing but his underwear. The end. Thank you for listening to this episode of Sleepy Moon's Storytime. If you want more stories, follow our podcast and have a good night.